U.S. attacks have effectively destroyed Iran's centrifuge enrichment program. Time and time again, I can go down the list. Those that understand, those that see, those that do proper assessments recognize that what the United States military did was historic. And again, before I pass it to the chairman, because you, and I mean specifically you, the press, specifically you, the press corps, because you cheer against Trump so hard, it's like in your DNA and in your blood to cheer against Trump, because you want him not to be successful so bad, you have to cheer against the efficacy of these strikes. You have to hope maybe they weren't effective. Maybe the way the Trump administration has represented them isn't true. So let's take half-truths, spun information, leaked information, and then spin it in every way we can to try to cause doubt and manipulate the public mind over whether or not our brave pilots were successful. How many stories have been written about how hard it is to, I don't know, fly a plane for 36 hours? Has MSNBC done that story? Has Fox? Have we done the story how hard that is? Have we done it 2 or 3 times so that American people understand? How about how difficult it is to shoot a drone from an F-15 or 16 or F-22 or F-35? Or what it's like to man a Patriot battery? Or how hard it is to refuel midair? Giving the American people an understanding of how complex and sophisticated this mission really was. There are so many aspects of what our brave men and women did that because of the hatred of this press corps are undermined because your people are trying to leak and spin that it wasn't successful. It's irresponsible.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we've gotten to the point, and this is one of the reasons why Trump has sued the media, because it's not because the press isn't giving them favorable coverage, right? Because there are press that give them favorable coverage, and there's press, obviously, you got MSNBC and CNN that doesn't give them favorable coverage, ever, even being objective and be able to just call things the facts. But it's also because they're unable to differentiate between what's their opinion versus what's the truth. And the news is supposed to be fact-based, and then you're supposed to give your perspective as a result of it. It's not supposed to be in the form that it is today. So when you talk about freedom of press, when you talk about when Bernie Sanders was getting his ass kicked by Joe Rogan and wanted to walk off as a result of it, I think that Pete Hegseth is correct and Trump is correct in addressing the media the way that they're addressing it, and he's calling them CNN fake news. It's a fact that they are fake. They are paid. I believe that the opposition, as far as different Democratic parties and PACs and super PACs and billionaires, are leveraging their advertising dollars as well as money inside of these organizations' pockets to then slant the news a particular way. I remember when Jeff Bezos said that his newspaper or his news organization would not be endorsing a candidate for president of the United States of America. And although I do think that it is a little bit slanted, I applauded the whole idea of it, because that is supposed to be for the opinionated journalists and creators instead of it being displayed as fact. And so when you do see bias in the news, which there should be bias, right? People are people, and they're going to have their opinion. We do need to separate it and differentiate it. And then we also need to give credit where credit is due. When you talk about our military, our Air Force, our Navy, our Army, and all of the special forces and any representation of the federal government from a military perspective, they always were supposed to get respect. We were always supposed to praise them, and that's why we always salute and stand for the Star-Spangled Banner, as well as acknowledge our military and military members when they come home, or when somebody said that they served, we say, thank you for your service. And that is because those are the people that put their lives on the line every single day for sometimes minimal pay or smaller pay than they could in the private sector. And so we give them special benefits and recognition regardless of whoever our president is. They serve, or they do, and they follow orders based off of what the commander-in-chief says, not even based off of whether or not they agree politically, right? So the news has become so biased to where they will even be against our military and they won't even say or be objective to acknowledge how difficult some of these missions are, and that they did a phenomenal job in what it is that they did in Iran, regardless of whether or not you agree with the fact that we were in Iran or we were supporting Israel or what your perspective is. We always respect our military. We always respect our Army, our Air Force, and our Navy. And so the media now has spun it to where liberals are even against the United States of America. I've never in my life seen it to where people say, I stand with Iran. I was like, what? You stand with who? Where? Yes, we seen these raging liberals. And I got a reaction video coming out later on today or tonight. I'm not sure when it's going to drop, in which I basically highlighted that people are now identifying liberal white women as some of the people that are against America the most. But we're going to deep dive into that in a second. Let me get back to Pete. Let me finish what he was saying, and then we're going to come back and give our final thoughts.
And folks in this room are privy to that information because of the proximity here in the Pentagon. It's an important responsibility. And time again, classified information is leaked or peddled for political purposes to try to make the president look bad. And what's really happening is you're undermining the success of incredible B-2 pilots and incredible F-35 pilots and incredible refuelers and incredible air defenders who accomplished their mission, set back a nuclear program in ways that other presidents would have dreamed. How about we celebrate that? How about we talk about how special America is, that only we have these capabilities? I think it's too much to ask, unfortunately, for the fake news. So we're used to that. But we also have an opportunity to stand at the podium and read the truth of what's really happening. And the reality is, you want to call it destroyed, you want to call it defeated, you want to call it obliterated, choose your word. This was an historically successful attack, and we should celebrate it as Americans. And it gives us a chance to have peace, chance to have a deal, and an opportunity to prevent a nuclear Iran, which is something President Trump talked about for 20 years.
And I think that that's great. Honestly, you know, even I was on the fence of the whole thing, in which obviously I wasn't aware that they were, you know, going to drop a bunker buster bomb within the nuclear sites as far as America executing that type of mission. And I also understand that the general public couldn't be aware that that was about to happen, because why would they tell you and telegraph exactly what their goals are so that they can give the adversaries or their enemies at that particular time a heads up as to what it is that they were going to do. And so even though I was against any kind of fighting or new wars, the fact that they actually leveraged this in order to stop fighting within Israel or Iran, and they got to the point to where they could set back, I don't care how long it is, they set back the possibility of their having enriched uranium so that they can then develop a nuclear weapon. And I see people saying that they stand with Iran is pretty crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't aware of what was going on. I didn't want the United States of America to engage or have troops on the ground. No American lives were lost as a result of it. And, you know, on top of that, we got to the point to where we brokered a ceasefire and then hopefully a long-term standing peace deal, which I know that some people are skeptical about that, but I'm just hopeful, and I'm really thankful, and I think that the President of the United States of America so far has done a phenomenal job. I would give him almost an A+, but I just have to give him an A because I'm just waiting for there to be some sort of a ceasefire, which I know that he can't control it completely. But it is one of the things that he promised that when he was on the campaign trail, that he was going to stop the war between Russia and Ukraine. And the fact that Russia has lost its 1 millionth soldier is pretty insane to me. But, you know, we here. Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Teach Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off of life. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. Peace.